All right, everyone. Appreciate your time tonight. It is 8 o'clock on Sunday, March 15th, 2020. Appreciate all of you showing up tonight just to address the situation where we're at right now. You know, the fact of the matter is I know you know what's going on around the world. I mean, between schools closing, travel plans changing, everything taking place with this pandemic right now. But the fact is that any obstacle, anything that happens in life, especially here in Florida, I mean, we experience this with hurricanes, we experience, all different types of circumstances. The question we have to ask ourselves is how are we going to react? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And obviously, it's important for us to stay calm. It's important for us to stay hopeful. It's important for us to stay smart, stay informed, but also not jump to panic like some people do as well. So, what I think is really important right now is for all of us vector leaders to be exactly that, is to be leaders, is to be cautious but not be fearful, for us to remain calm but also remain aware. I think these are important topics for us to make sure that we're not making any careless decisions, and we also don't want to be too overconfident. So there's just a few different things that we want to make sure that we have top of mind. So in order to honor all of you, I think it's appropriate to speak what needs to be spoken. We are truly gifted to be in this business. I mean, there's many businesses out there right now that are going to struggle during this situation. That might be especially some local mom and pop restaurants that rely on tourism. Some people are going to be out of work for quite some time. Businesses might struggle during this time frame, where we have such a great opportunity in front of us right now, where we are controlling our destiny because we can shift to 100% remote if we need to. We have flexibility of our schedule, or where you can work anywhere you need to, whether it's during transit or whether you're staying in quarantine. It doesn't really make a difference. And with our product line, it's a product that's used for the home. As you know, people are going to be spending more time at home, which is obviously to our advantage. And also, because people are spending more time at home, the kids are out of school, we have an opportunity to get more demos. We could get in front of more people. And the situation that's in front of us is we want to capitalize on that the right way and honor our customers at the same time. So we want to give them options. Like, listen, Ms. Jones, I'd love to, and I know Jess is going to talk about this in a moment, but it's like, hey, I have no problem meeting with you. Obviously you're my aunt. So I love you and I have no problem meeting with you. But at the same time, if you're more comfortable, we can just do the appointment right over the phone and computer. And I asked two of the best at virtual demos in our entire country. Jessica Sheenan and Alexis Gauss are two of the top 20 students in the fall campaign in virtual demo sales. And currently Jess is top 150 student in the country and Alexis is currently top 20 in the country on virtual demo sales. So I invited these girls to give some thoughts on how they're going to use our tools to help make sure that their business doesn't suffer due to any other circumstance. So we're focusing what's in our control. I'm going to toss things over to Jess here in just a moment. She's going to offer some mindset things and some tools to help you get more appointments. And then I'm going to toss things over to Alexis to offer you some thoughts and tips on the actual demo itself. But before they take over, I just think it's important for you to take responsibility and have excitement to know that we're in a position right now where you're in the driver's seat, and really take pride in that. There's going to be a lot of friends around you right now. They're going to be like, oh yeah, they cut my hours, or yeah, I can't go to work anymore. Yeah. Shoot, it's people that are working for cruise lines, people that are working for airlines. If you have people that are working, in restaurant industries, retail, like a lot of businesses are going to be struggling. That's not the case for us. That's not going to be the case for us, because we're going to continue to strive and we're going to continue to offer a great product line to people that deserve our great product line. So as a marketing and advertising team, as sales associates, as individuals, as leaders, I'm very honored and privileged to have you part of our Vector family. So let's go ahead and transition to Jess. Jessica Sheenan, number 10 student in the entire country this past fall, $35,000 in Cutco sales with a good 50% or so of those sales coming from virtual demos. So Jess, why don't you take it from here?
All right, so just to piggyback off of what Mike said, this is the time where you really have to think like a business owner. And what that means is that things are always going to happen in your life, and this is not the time to be spring broke or to sit on your couch for 2 or 3 weeks while school's out and just watch TV. This is honestly one of the best things that could have happened for your business. And what I mean by that is Mike was mentioning everyone is at home right now. Everyone is sitting home. Moms are sitting with their kids doing nothing all day. So you know how easy it is for Miss Jones to say, yes, I will definitely talk to you for an hour. That is 1 hour that she doesn't have to spend with her kids during that whole day. And you will be the highlight of her day. It'll be super fun. The virtual demos are, in my opinion, the most fun. And they're really easy to set up. And going on to that subject, it is a conversation over the phone to show that you're considerate, that you're aware of what's happening, and that you do really want this scholarship. That's why you're doing everything you can while still making people comfortable and being considerate. So what that sounds like on the phone is, hey, Ms. Jones, you know, I usually do these presentations live. Based on the current circumstances, would you feel more comfortable doing it on the phone? Yeah? Okay, cool. Would 4 or 6 work better for you? Cool. Awesome. So that's kind of the conversation that I would be having and practicing that in my head. Scheduling the demos virtually, make sure to use the right verbiage. So instead of saying, hey, can we do it virtually or over the computer, just say, we can actually do it right over the phone, Miss Jones. I definitely want to respect your space. You know, I know there's a lot going on right now. It won't be too long. I will be the highlight of your day. And just really taking that mindset of capitalizing over the situation. Also, a lot of you guys are out of school right now, so you're not doing anything. You have all this free time that you were going to school at spring break, but you probably don't want to go to the movies or, you know, out with your friends in really populated areas. So use this time to make sure that you're using the most out of your time. And this could be 2 of the biggest weeks for you in your Cutco career if you view it that way. So going straight on from that, I actually told Alexis that I really wanted her to speak. So did Mike, because she is virtual demo queen. Alexis has never stepped into somebody's house and is at almost $20,000 in career sales. So I thought it would be the most appropriate if she offered some insight on some tips and tricks for virtual demos.
Cool. Thanks, Jess. And before I toss it to Alexis, I want to echo a couple of things that Jess just mentioned. The verbiage of, I love what Jess said, which is I definitely want to respect your space. I'll be the highlight of your day. We could do it over the phone and computer if you'd prefer. You know, I think the phrasing there is very important. Not using words like virtual demo. I think that's very intimidating, especially to some of our client base. When you hear virtual demo, it sounds complex. You say, I just do the appointment right over the phone. You just need to be in front of your computer. That's it. I just do the appointment right over the phone. You just need to be in front of your computer. That's the verbiage. Keep it simple. Keep it tight. Very, very, very great insights there. And I also agree with Jess as well that these could be some of the biggest weeks for your whole career because people are accessible. What's the hardest part about selling Cutco is getting in front of people. But now it should be pretty easy to get in front of people. So therefore, the hardest part of your job has now become more accessible. So great insights there, Jess. To toss it over to Alexis for more of the meat on the actual demo, on how to really level up your virtual demo game. This young lady's at over $18,000 in Cutco sales, all virtual sales, has never done a live demo. All of her appointments are virtual. She works around her other job. She works around her full-time classes at USF and works from her sweatshirt and from her apartment, which is pretty awesome. So I really appreciate Alexis taking some time to offer some insights on how to level up to do virtual demos and almost at $20,000 in sales. So thank you, Alexis. I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, no problem, Mike. I really feel honored to be able to talk to you guys because I view myself as very similar to all of you, just on the same page. We're all baby reps. But I do want to mention a few key points just to piggyback off of Mike and Jess. Cutco is something that is not mentioned, that hasn't been mentioned yet. Cutco is also US made, so it's not coming from any other country. It's coming from the United States, so your customers don't have to worry about that. And also what Jess said, you don't want to be sitting on your couch for the next couple of weeks. So if you don't tend to your garden, the weeds are going to grow. So definitely make sure that you're using this time wisely and effectively. But as far as the demo itself goes, there's a few key points that I really wanted to hit on. Being over the computer, it takes away a lot of that immediate human interaction that you get when you're around someone face to face. Obviously, we know how that's different being on all social media. It's a lot easier to say certain things over the phone versus in person. Same thing goes for presentations. The same concept applies. It's a lot harder to get that connection over a Skype or a FaceTime or anything like that. So the biggest thing that you can do on virtual presentations is build rapport. You literally, in your training manual, it says build 10 to 15 minutes of rapport. You want to minimum do 15 minutes of rapport. And that's because you're not getting that immediate connection that you most likely would if it was going to be in a face-to-face. You really want to build that connection with them. So a few ways that I like to do that, I always start off by asking how their day was, always, because that's going to give me an instant signal as to how the presentation may or may not go, or what kind of mood they're in. So if they answer the phone and they're like, hey, yeah, let's do the presentation. Obviously, I can gauge they're not really too excited. So what I try to do is I ask them questions that do get them excited. So stuff, how was your day? If they didn't have a good day, we talk about that for a little bit. But something else that I really like to ask, what do you do for a living? And how's your family doing? If you don't know their family, no problem. Asking how you're doing and what do you do for a living, that'll really get people talking. If you ask questions about what they're doing, they love that, and especially about their family. I was just on the phone with the gentleman. He has 4 grandkids, told me all about every single one of them. If you get them talking about their family, they will love you. So definitely find a connection, find some similar interests that you guys can bond over, and that will help you out a ton. Now, with that being said, there are certain parts of the presentation, once you really get into it, that you do want to take your time on and you do want to slow down and ask them questions. My favorite question to ask for virtual presentations is going to be on the Junk Knife page after you explain what the uses are for. I always ask them before I even start my presentation, have you ever heard of Cutco? If they say yes, great. How long have you had it? How many pieces do you have? What do you have? If they don't have Cutco, great, you're gonna love it. Go on with your presentation. And then when you get to the Junk Knife page, for this one, I always ask them what kind of knives they have. Most of the time, they're either gonna be sitting somewhere in their kitchen or somewhere pretty close so they're able to see what kind of knives they have. So just go ahead and ask them what kind of knives you're using. Do they have wooden handles, plastic handles? Are they name brand? Are they Henkel? Are they Shun, Wusthof? Anything like that. Because obviously if they have good quality knives, you don't really need to spend 30, 40 minutes going over the Junk Knife page. So I like to gauge and see what kind of knives they already currently have to give me kind of a direction as to where I'm going to go with my presentation. Now, something else I also like to ask on the Junk Knife page at the end is, Ms. Jones, if you could design your perfect set of knives, what kind of qualities would those knives have? And what that question does, 1, it keeps them engaged. 2, it gives you an idea as to what they're looking for. And 3, it's going to help you out with the next slide, which is obviously going to be the quality. Now, with the next few slides, what you really want to focus on question-wise is going to be when you're showing the videos of the pieces doing their job. So it starts off with the paring knife. Obviously, it doesn't have a video, but for the trimmer, you ask them, hey, you ever cut a tomato? Yes. Awesome. When you're doing it, does it ever work like this? Is it ever this good? How long does it normally take you to cut a pineapple? those are some of the questions that you want to be asking on virtual presentations, because they can't physically feel it in their hand. And this gives them a better idea as to how good Cutco works compared to the stuff that they're currently using. Now, some other things that I do want to hit on that's very important that I didn't even realize a bunch of new reps had no idea about is Zoom. Use Zoom on your presentations. Do not use FaceTime unless you must have no other option. Unless you have no other option, use Zoom. And the reason I say use Zoom, one, you're going to be in control. You can actually do a thing called screen share. And if anybody has any questions on how to use Zoom or how to work it, I can completely walk you through step by step how to use it. But there's an option that says screen share. So you control everything that they see. You're able to click through the slides for them. And by doing this, you're not having to flip back and forth on your phone, and it keeps them way more engaged because then you can see their face as well. And when this happens, they're most likely going to be more engaged than if you're just doing it over FaceTime. Now, something else that I do want to mention, use facial expressions literally like it is your second job. That is going to be really, really important. They can read everything. And obviously we know body language is really important, but they're only seeing a portion of your body. Facial expressions are going to be your best friend. When it comes to the junk knife page, you want to be like, ew, Miss Jones, it is not something you want to have cooking next to your chicken. You want to use really, really exaggerated facial expressions. I'm naturally a dramatic person, but really emphasize it. Really be like, did you see how great that was? Oh, it was real. Did you see how gross that is? Really emphasize those facial expressions and have fun with it. Some of my favorite things to do on presentations is make those corny dad jokes because they love it. My favorite one I've used recently is on our guarantee page. I say, so the last part of our guarantee is our 15-day money-back guarantee. And I like to say it's kind of like dating, but better, because if you try it out and you like it, great, you get to marry it, you keep your Cutco forever. And if you don't, you break up with it and send it back, but it's better because you get all your money back, unlike real dating. So use the jokes to your advantage. There's so many Cutco jokes you can add. If you need any questions on those, I can give you plenty, I promise. I love dad jokes. But definitely smile, have a good personality, be very, very friendly, and act like you've known them for years. You want to have that connection with them. So again, building rapport is super big. Something new that I have tried a few times is actually having my knives with me on virtual presentations. I did this for one presentation with the Crow Maker that I had, just because she couldn't see necessarily how nice the stainless steel table knife was. So I actually had that out in front of me. I was able to show her over the screen, and it's a lot easier to see if you have the knives versus the pictures on the presentation. So this will make it a little bit easier. That's something I've tried that's new for me. You can try it out, see if it works for you, and I'd love to hear the feedback on that. But stick and move when you're asking questions about the pieces page, when you're going through each individual knife. Mike has said this before, but really you want to stick and move and stay on track so you're not wasting their time. And time with these people is going to be very, very important to them. So make sure that you're going slow and you're getting all your information across, but you also want to be aware of their time and just be very consistent. So when it comes to asking questions, do you cut a tomato? Yep. Okay, perfect. Go through it, move on. Do you cut a pineapple sometimes? Yep. Okay, go, move on. So you really want to stick and move, but make sure that you're going slow during the key parts, such as the junk knife page, the comparison page, and also the page where you're closing as well. So with that being said, those are going to be my biggest tips. My all-time biggest one that I do really want to hit home on is build rapport. You want to build rapport, be their best friend. And Facebook, this is the last thing that I want to say. Facebook is going to be your best friend. This is something that I found, regardless if you're doing virtuals or not, Facebook is your best friend. And if you don't have Facebook now, just make one. It's really easy. And your mom's Facebook friends are probably going to be the nicest people that you talk to. And it's going to be the easiest people to scoop up demos with. And a lot of customers have no problem putting a picture of you on their Facebook and spreading the word for you. So it makes your job way easier. So those are going to be my biggest points. If anybody ever has any questions on virtuals, Zoom, or dad jokes, let me know for any of the above, and I can help you out with anything. And those are going to be my takeaways.
Awesome, Alexis. Well, first and foremost, I do want to hear at least 2 or 3 more dad jokes in just a moment. I want at least 2 or 3 more because that one was awesome.
Okay, I got you.
So that's number one. I want to also have you walk through, if you don't mind, on how to ask your customer, like if you just role played with me, how do you ask them to put the Facebook post up? So that way we could just have that conversation as well. So I want at least 2 or 3 more dad jokes, and I want to role play with you on how to have the conversation to get your customer to put that Facebook post up.
Gotcha. Okay, so another dad joke that's my personal favorite, I will get to the quality page, and on the part that says thermo resin handles. If anybody didn't know, those are actually made out of similar material of NFL football helmets. So the joke that I use is, hey, Miss Jones, does you and your husband ever watch football sometimes? Oh, yeah, my husband was. Oh, okay, your husband does? So cool. Well, the cool thing is about these handles, they're actually made out of very similar material as the same NFL football helmets that you see on TV. So you'll never have to worry about your knives ever getting a concussion. And they love that one. They're like, oh my God, that's so funny. So you can actually tell them that one. And then as far as, God, other dad jokes. I'm trying to think of the presentation itself. Oh man.
Well,
really
I'll tell you right now, that one is awesome.
Something else that I say.
While you're thinking of that, Alexis, just so everyone also knows, one thing that Alexis referenced, and I want to make sure it doesn't get overlooked, when the videos are playing of the food cutting, and she said, go slow, but be aware of their time. Something I always like to do to honor my customer during rapport is I would say something in the beginning. By the way, Ms. Jones, thank you so much for doing the appointment with me. You have no idea. After we chatted it up, it's like, just so I can honor your time, Ms. Jones, usually my appointments take, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 hours. I'm just teasing. But just to honor your time, do you have about 45 minutes or so to spend right now? Maybe 45 minutes to an hour. Is that still okay? I would say that after I'm in rapport, just so I have a gauge. So if my customer freaks out and they're like, whoa, I thought this was only going to be 10 minutes. I know at least right at that point. So I know I either need to adjust or reschedule, which I would probably reschedule in that case. So just a thought for you there. The second thought is when the videos are playing and you're cutting up the food and all, it's like, do you ever slice the tomato? Yeah. Does it ever look like that? No. Do you see why everyone gets Cutco? Yeah. Isn't that amazing? Yes. Don't you see why everyone gets this stuff? Yeah. Do you see why that comes in your set? Yes. Now it's really good for this, for tomatoes and such, but it's not good for spreading. Click. Go ahead and click. Let me show you why we have a spatula spreader, so it's really good for spreading. Do you ever spread sandwiches? Yes. Do you see how that one works? Yes. Isn't that awesome? Yes. Do you see why that comes in your set? Yes. Now that one's really good for spreading, but it's not really good for like a pineapple. So go ahead and click. Let me show you this next tool. Boom. Click. Do you see how that one works? Yes. Do you ever try to cut a pineapple? Yes. Does it ever look like that? Do you see why everyone do you see everyone gets this? Do you see why it comes in your set? Yes. Now that's really good for pineapple, but it's not really good for like heavy duty stuff. So go ahead and click. Let me show you the next tool and why that one comes in our set. So that bridging concept is really important. I know Alexis mentioned it, but I just wanted to echo that. Do you have another dad joke for us before we role play the Facebook?
Yeah, I actually do. So, so I have 2 that I use for the features page. For the 4th feature, it's going to be our high class, very high grade steel. So for that one, it's not necessarily a dad joke, but most people get it. I'm like, oh, Miss Jones, you've ever seen Hannah Montana before? And she's like, oh my gosh, yeah, my kids watch it all the time. And I'm like, oh, cool. Because Cutco actually is Hannah Montana, but a little bit different. So we have our high carbon, we have our high grade surgical steel, and it actually has the best of both worlds, just like Hannah Montana. So it has the high carbon for edge retention, and then stainless steel for beauty, and then so on. So Hannah Montana, and then something else that I say with the stainless steel is going to be, it's not necessarily another dad joke, but again, you ever use, with stainless steel knives, it's very, very malleable. Well, have you ever used a razor before and sometimes it goes dull after a couple uses? Yeah? Well, have you ever used a spoon before and you're trying to get that big scoop of ice cream and you see the spoon bends a little bit? And they're like, oh, that's the worst. I'm like, I know, I'm an ice creamaholic too. But if that's what's happening to a razor with really thin hair and that's what's happening to a spoon with ice cream, can you imagine what's happening to the blade of your knife that's constantly coming in contact with a cutting board, a hard plate, or a thick steak or a piece of chicken? And then they get the image there.
Right.
Yeah.
Great stuff. I mean, that's fantastic, Alexis. So let's just for time's sake, let's role play this. So I just
Okay.
gave you 5 recommendations, on the appointment, and now go ahead and transition me. Actually, let me role play that with you real fast. So
Okay.
what it looks like to ask for recommendations. I'll role play with you on how to ask for recommendations. You're going to role play with me on how to get me to post it on Facebook. Okay. So,
Okay.
so Alexis, you'll be my customer. So Alexis, now you're going to love your Cutco. I'm going to enter that into the system for you right now. I know you said you want the white. But before I do that, how was my appointment?
It was great. You did really good job. Very good. Mhm.
Excellent. I treated you right. I showed you everything. Everything was good.
Yeah, totally.
Well, I can't thank you enough for this appointment, because every appointment I do helps me towards that scholarship I mentioned in the beginning. In fact, do you remember that the sponsorship, the automatic sponsorship I told you about in the very, very beginning? Do you remember that?
I think so. I think something like a smiley face, I remember you saying.
Well, there's one more very important part. And here's where you can really help me out the most, Alexis, is see, I get paid every time I show Cutco, but I only call people I'm personally recommended to. So what I need you to do is but right before I enter everything into the system for you, is just help me jot down 200 to 300 people. I'm just kidding. Just 10 to 20 that might be nice enough to help me out. I'm not necessarily looking for people who would buy, just people nice like you to take a look. And the way that sponsorship works is for every 50 sponsors I get, the company gives me $150 cash scholarship that I could use to pay for like books and school supplies. Now, all you have to do, can you give me my binder? All you have to do to be a sponsor is just you just have to help me get to this first level right here at 10. And if you can help me get to this 20 down here, you become a double sponsor and count twice towards the sponsorship. So I have a pen right here, and let me find a sheet. Actually, I have a sheet right here. I have a sheet of paper for you. So off the top of your head, who are the nicest people that you know that might be nice enough to help me out? We'll start with the names and then come back to the phone numbers. So who do you know that's nice, Alexis? And by the way, most people put me on speakerphone while they just scroll through their contacts. So who do you know that's nice? Cool. Now we'll fast forward. Let's assume you gave me my 5. I get my 5 recommendations. And now I'm going to be your customer. You're going to ask me to put it on Facebook. Let's go ahead and do that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Mr. Mike. You have been so helpful today, and I really, really appreciate you introducing me to all of these people. It is really going to help me out. Now, I know I reached out to you on Facebook, and that was super cool because obviously it was right over the phone. But I'm sure that you have a lot more friends on your Facebook than you do on your contact list. So something that my mom did, and a few of her other friends actually did on Facebook, all they did is post a simple post, and they added a picture of me at the bottom. And this just helps get the word out about what I'm doing and the scholarship that I'm working on. So with that being said, would you mind just throwing up a quick Facebook post really quick and tagging me in it? I'll like and comment on it. It'll be super fun. And maybe when you're done, I'll get a bunch more Facebook friends because I'm really trying to even out my ratio. So would you mind doing that for me, Mr. Mike?
Perfect. So just to echo a couple of those points, you probably have more friends on Facebook than you do in your phone.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great phrase. You put a post about me up on your story? I know in third person, my mom, my aunt, a lot of other people have done this for me. We just take a photo, we could take a little selfie, or I could send you a photo of me. I'll comment on it. I'll like on it, whatever it might be. And I love the phrase that you could say is like, this is just helping me use social media for my business, and it's going to help me a ton. And I love networking and connecting with people as well. So those are great phrases. So to honor everybody's time, thank you, everybody. Looks like Jess, you have a point. I'll let you before we wrap up.
Sorry, just one thing. So one thing I want to make sure that you guys are doing is you already have the Facebook template. And what I recommend is taking a picture of like, sometimes they don't like to take a picture with you. So if you have a picture with like your Cutco book or something, already sending it to them so that they don't have to think about what to say. You already want to have that outline for them so that you're like, yeah, it's actually super easy, Miss Jones. I'm just going to send you the post. All you do is copy paste. But you don't know how much that 2 minutes will help me out with my scholarship. So make sure that you're giving them the post. Do not let them write a post for you.
And a quick testimonial. Jess, you had a customer posted in a mom group for you, right?
Yeah.
How many moms were in that group?
Like 200, 300.
200 moms. How many people liked and commented on it?
Over 100.
So if you want access to Mac customers, your best clients, they're all on Facebook. So this is not like, oh, that might be a good idea. This is the move, because then you can message all these people on Facebook. Okay, once they like, you copy and paste, and we have a template for that. You message them and you book up these appointments through Facebook, which also allows you to call from the Messenger app. You don't even need their phone numbers. So you could just set them up through Facebook as well. A great way to add different time zones into your business and scale your virtual demo and all across the country. So
exactly.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I just want to honor everybody's time and keep it under 30 minutes. So I'm going to stop the recording. And everyone that is on this right now, I'll send the recording out, and that way you could revisit some of these best practices. So again, let's make sure we focus on what's in our control. Let's honor our customers. Let's be cautious. Let's be leaders. And let's make sure that we are leading our lives and not, falling prey or falling victim to things that are outside of our control. Thanks for your time, everybody.